Now, I was taken out of the prison cell, and I was placed over next to this large raging pit of fire. This pit was about a mile across, a mile in diameter. It was a huge hole in the ground with flames raging high up in this open cavern. And it was real, literal fire. It wasn't metaphorical fire like some say. I felt the heat. I saw the flames. But more importantly, it's what the scripture says. Psalms 11:6 says, upon the wicked he will rain fire and brimstone and a horrible tempest. Psalms 140 verse 10, let burning coals fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire into deep pits. Matthew 13:49, angels shall sever the wicked from the just, cast the wicked into a furnace of fire. One more verse, Isaiah 33:12 says, the people shall be as the burnings of lime. They shall be as thorns cut up and thrown into the fire and burned. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? Everlasting, never ceases. But this is where I could first see people. See, I have to explain, I could see through the flames. You could only see through the flames and just along the edges. It's so dark. You know, a pit a mile across here on the earth, a fire, would produce a lot of light, right? If you can imagine a whole mile filled with fire. Yeah. Well, in hell it doesn't. The light doesn't travel. It just consumes it. It sucks it in. But I could see through it and just really barely along the edges. And this is where I could first see people. In the pit, I could see hundreds, maybe thousands of people, outlines of skeletons, screaming. And it was deafening to hear all these people scream. You could not distinguish a man from a woman. There was just like flesh hanging off their bones. It was so awful to see, and maybe only a fireman can relate to that, but it's the most horrifying sight to see a person on fire. But the screams are so loud. But Isaiah 57:21 says, there is no peace, saith my God, to the wicked. There's no peace of mind of any kind. But Isaiah 32:18 says, my people dwell in a quiet resting place. You're not his people, so you don't derive the benefit of even quiet. And now I descended to get there, and I ascended when I left, so I understood I was down deep in the earth. But more importantly, there's 49 scriptures that point out where the current hell is. I'll just give you two. Mm-hmm. Ezekiel 26:20, Numbers 16:32 and 33. They're very clear it's down deep in the earth. But I understood that, and I understood there were different levels of torment and degrees of punishment. Remember, Jesus said in Matthew 23:14, you shall receive the greater damnation. Well, that infers a lesser damnation. Or Matthew 10:15, he said, it shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. That infers a less tolerable. Luke 12:47, you'll be beaten with many stripes or beaten with few. Hebrews 10:28, of how much worse of a punishment suppose it shall be for you who have trodden underfoot the Son of God. There's a worse punishment. But my point is, there is no tolerable, comfortable level in hell. Any level is far worse than your mind can even conceive. Now, I thought about my wife up on the earth. I remembered her. I thought about her. I understood I'll never get to see her again. I'll never get to say goodbye. I have no finality with my family, my loved ones. And you don't realize how tormenting a thought that is. You know, it's at least some comfort to say goodbye to your family. But you don't get to do that in hell. And they don't know that you still exist. You know, Job 7:9 said, he that goes down to Sheol shall come up no more. Oh, you understand you're not going to get out. And, you know, and see, death does not mean cease to exist. Death means separation from God.